Welcome back to another Five Questions. This is your girl, AJ, the Suburban Princess here. Five Questions has been very, very fun this year because I pointedly made a point to go out and ask people who I really, really feel influenced by this year. 2020 was one thing, but 2022 is another. And one of the most beautiful talents on Power 99 that I've seen in a while and heard, because I was listening to it today. Please welcome one of my favorite personalities that I met years ago, Cappuchino. How are you,
Thank
girl?
you. I am good, tired from this heat and working out, but I'm here.
That look, fitness is a good thing, and I'm telling you, you just reminded me. So I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I swear, I promise.
The
But
pandemic
thank you, Kat,
sounds like
once
a joke.
again. Yes, this heat is ridiculous in Philly. I mean, it's everywhere, but it's a whole
Yes,
nother level up here. It's
yes.
a whole nother level. So I want to get off the bat and just talk because I love this industry of radio, but I've more found that I'm starting to love the craft of voice acting as well. And I think that the reason why I wanted to talk to you especially is because obviously in radio we hear your voice.
Mhm.
And I think we're also in a social media where a lot of people are caught up in image and everything. I think when I met you, and it was probably embarrassing, but I know when I met you, I looked at you and I said, oh my God, she reminds me of Melanie Fiona. And I think it's because Melanie Fiona has the same beautiful skin color as you. So I wanted to lead that off as my first question is what is your background? Because I feel you have a beautiful hue of skin, but I also feel like that's why you might be called cappuccino. I could be wrong.
You know what? You actually hit both things nail on the head. Head on the nail on the
Nail on
head.
the head.
Actually, my background, I am actually Thai and black. So
Nice.
I am mixed Asian, Blasian, as I like
Blasian.
to say, Blasian.
I like
And
that.
actually, it's funny that you said that because my name was given to me in college because of the hue of my skin.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I love it. I love it. And it's funny because when you hear, it's so funny how a lot of people's backgrounds you would never expect the mixture. And now with the popularity, excuse me, of like 23andMe and Ancestry, I'm dying to know what I have in my background because I've been obsessed with British culture and I love black, especially black British men because
Yes.
especially like Idris Elba and what's my boy, Daniel Kaluuya.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Oh, I love the way he talks. Anyway, let me stop talking about me. But anyway, who is your favorite? Now I know you went to the BET Awards, and I wanted to ask you who is your favorite male singer today? Because there's a lot of guys out there, but there's got to be some that really get you.
Oh
So
my God. So that's actually kind of hard to say because a lot of voices that you hear these days, I'm all about tone. And a lot of them have different tones. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of Giveon, but I like his tone. It's different. It's unique. It's
okay,
almost like he can't sing, but I like him singing. It's one of those things like it's a bit different. But I will say, I know I've been on social media a lot, and Avery Wilson, his
okay, I
voice,
keep hearing about
like
him.
it
Yep.
gives me like to hear him sing on social media. I'm like, this man is giving me chills. I think there was an
Hmm.
episode last season of Grownish, and it started out with him singing Strange Fruit at the
Okay.
beginning of Grownish, and I was sitting here like, I know that voice, and I
Yeah.
couldn't pinpoint it because his hair was different. I'm like, hey, because I started getting those goosebumps. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just something about his voice. He gives you that churchy vibe, but not really
Yes.
because he definitely ain't singing about church.
Right.
But it's a lot of different voices that's like I say, it's just all about the tone for me. Chris Brown is gonna always be, I think, everyone's favorite. I like
Mm.
Chris Brown. He's not my favorite, but
Yeah, he's not my favorite either, but yeah.
I enjoy his songs. It's that's always been a hard thing trying to figure out who was my favorite R&B singer because
Mm.
it's not like back in the day, how
Yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
you knew they came up out the church and you could feel it. But I mean, there are a lot of people that I do enjoy listening to.
Like Anthony Hamilton. He's someone I think everyone still feels like. I mean, I still hear that cornbread song that I love so much. I just love cornbread and what is it? Collard greens and cornbread, I think.
Yeah, I love the point of it all. I love that song from him. I
And him
that's
and
my,
Jill Scott. Yeah,
yes,
there's
yes.
so many favorites, but okay, cool. Because and also a reason why I wanted to bring up BET Awards real quick too is because I started to become, and I hate to say obsessed, but I mean it's true. I like this guy Aaron Ray. That is not
I
only is he
interviewed
gorgeous,
him. Yes,
but I
when I
like his
sat
vibe.
down, I'd never met him before, never seen what he looked like. They just came over. Hey, would you like to interview Aaron Ray? I'm like, sure. My seat's empty. Why not? And when he sat down, I'm thinking, well, damn.
I'm
No one
telling
told
you,
me this. Yeah, no one told me. But he was actually very pleasant to talk to.
yes,
And the funny thing is, I still have not had a chance to check out a song, but we did discuss his project, and of course, it came from heartbreak.
yes,
He said how during the
good stuff.
pandemic, how he met someone and just that pandemic heartbreak afterwards.
Yes,
That was a
yes.
cool interview.
He was very nice. So I definitely highly recommend you peep his latest.
I
And he has one
will.
before, and I'm going to go back and listen to the other one. But
Okay.
that's cool. I'm glad to hear you got your ears out there too, because it's hard now because I'm still kind of stuck in an Usher 90s, early millennium. But I'm
Yeah.
trying to be open to these new cats, man. I'm really trying. And I was listening to Neo's new one recently. But and what were you like as a youth? Because I like to always find out how people's personalities develop. Because you have a great energy, but I'm wondering, were you the shy one? Were you the class clown?
I wasn't necessarily the class clown. There were moments when I got in trouble because, of course, you're talking with every other student, but wasn't quite a loud student, wasn't quite vocal, wasn't quite shy. I don't know how to explain. Plus, I'm an Aquarius.
Okay.
If that's
Okay.
it.
Gotcha.
I wasn't too shy. I was always uh an A student.
Okay.
I had my friends were hood. We were all hood to a degree. So I was kind of like with them, even though I had my advanced classes. I've always loved the idea of entertainment, more so music. I hate to be one of them people, but yeah, I used to rap with, back in high school. That was your girl.
Hey, Angie
It was,
Martinez.
it was a phase. It was a phase, and even
I
I
got a
think
gift.
I think with me, I always kind of surprise folks because I remember my freshman year in high school. It's funny, I remember this. I actually did a talent show by myself, and a lot of my peers were like, "Whoa," like
Yeah.
you, because I was, like I say, I wasn't always quiet, but I wasn't always talkative. I was kind of like in between. Even
Yeah.
when I went to FAMU, joining the radio station, I started out going to the classes first, which wasn't even really a class, more like a meeting. But I would
Okay.
go to them and I would never really talk because my thing is I'm taking in information, taking in what I need to know. So the first time I cracked the mic, my hotline rang because it was a lot of the students who were already on air, like, "Who is this?" And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "No, really, which one are you?" Because they knew that some of us were getting shifts. And I told them who I was, and they was like, "Oh my God," because they never heard me really talk in the class or the meeting.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why I'm like, I wasn't one of those. I'm not gonna say I wasn't outgoing. I had friends, you
Right.
know. I
Right.
was never I was never a shy person, but I was never the class clown either.
Got you. Okay. So you were just enough to be like, you knew who I was, but I wasn't out there trying to be in front of everything. I got you. I
Exactly.
totally got you. Okay. And now, what is your strongest attribute you feel in the radio industry? What do you feel sets you apart?
Oh my God, I don't know. I don't.
I feel like
I
I'm
really
interviewing you.
know. I'm like, what is? Because I saw that question earlier, and I was like, what is my attribute? I mean, I would say when I first came up, I think it was my voice because I had more of the deeper. I don't
Yeah.
want to say aggressive tone.
Hmm.
Uh, it wasn't the sultry nighttime
Yeah.
overnight. It wasn't that type of voice. For middays, my voice was a little harder
Okay.
compared to all of the soft spoken women. So I think at that time,
Right.
that stood out. It was a bit different. Um, Now, I'm hearing, and I love the fact that I'm hearing more women who don't have that sound. And there's nothing wrong with that, but
No,
it's
but you don't
not
want to blend in.
exactly. So I mean, I don't know what my attribute would be now. I guess for me, it's that I am me and I'm consistent with how I speak to people on a regular basis, how I
Got you.
do my interviews. I feel like I want to make people feel like they're comfortable with me when they are, sitting with me and have never sat with me before. So I
Yeah.
want to make them feel comfortable.
And I also feel like too, do you feel like now that social media has blown up that it's kind of it's rivaling radio, or do you feel like, because some of the podcasts I was listening to, some of them were saying like some of the radio people might feel a certain type of way because podcasters were there more for the BT Awards. Is there kind of a beef brewing, or is it more just like, whatever?
And so here's my thing.
Okay.
Podcasting is fine because I do one every now and then too. However, podcasting is not radio. You know, the podcasts are out there, but you're not going to really hear someone's song on a
Right.
podcast the way you would on the radio. And if you hear the song, chances are they're probably sampling. It's not enough to generate
Right.
ratings or numbers for that particular artist. Whereas radio, guess what we do? We
Mm-hmm.
play your song quite often, so it is it's definitely different. When I say it was beef in there, my thing is not even just the podcasters, bloggers were there as well. And I felt some type of way about the bloggers because I'm like, these are some of the artists that you guys talk about. Now I will say it's a catch-22 because I follow some of those blog sites, and sometimes when I need some show prep, I may
Right.
go.
Right. Right.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily dump on these artists the way some of the bloggers, not to say the ones that were there, but
Right.
just in general, I don't dump on them the way some bloggers do.
Yeah, because you and the shock and awe value I find of the business is what is kind of even confusing to me as a fan and a consumer. I'm kind of like, all right, so why how are you going to bring somebody back on your show, but then try to say something obviously because you're like click the link, to find out what happened, that
Exactly.
type of thing. Oh God. All right. So I asked you before, I think on DM, who was your favorite interview at the BET Awards, but I know you had tons to. Who comes to mind at least right off the bat as soon as you think of that weekend
So the
that you
funny
love?
thing is, I never met the guy. My first time ever sitting down with him, really even hearing about him. His name is Simba. His interview was so pleasant. Like he was just dropping gems, and I'm like, man.
Mhm.
And I was literally at one point, I'm sitting there with the mic, like,
Just
man, what
forgot
am
to
I
ask.
doing? I mean, I was taking in everything he was saying, but
Yeah.
he was so articulate, and not to say that people aren't articulate, but it's the fact that how he spoke, and like I said, the gems he was dropping. I'm like, and I was sitting there like, yes, brother, the whole time, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that was actually his interview was very, very good. Even interviewing Sir, I don't know why I always thought that Sir would be more of a quiet guy, but he came in with a huge smile and was just like, cheerful and all.
Yeah.
So that was a cool interview. And of course, Chloe Bailey. She came in, you would have thought we were cousins or something, because she came in, hey, hugs and
Yeah.
all.
She seems really sweet. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And and actually when I thought about it, I think that's probably my third time interviewing Chloe. Because I remember when they came to Philly for Beyonce and Jay-Z's On the Run Tour 2, part 2,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they were there, they were opening for them. And I remember they came by the studio, but you know how you get those flashbacks on like Facebook or social media. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot I'd interviewed both her and her sister at BT Awards some years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty cool to connect again. I was like, well, maybe that's why she was extra friendly, but I don't know. I don't know if she
Yeah.
was like that. But I mean, that was a cool interview as well. I've had like a lot of decent ones. Lizzo was pretty decent because that was my first time ever sitting down with Lizzo. I felt good interviewing Chance the Rapper because I am a fan of Chance the
Oh,
Rapper.
I love Chan. Such
Yeah,
good people.
he was real laid back though. He was real laid back. So I was like, okay, but it, just being able to sit down with people that you are actually a fan of was good.
Yeah. That's always good because even when, like you said, with people you don't know, it's refreshing to know if they actually got good conversation. Because you
Yes.
kind of almost feel like some of these artists. I think the thing I keep seeing over and over again, even on social media, is that some artists are not developed well or they don't know how to present themselves well.
I definitely have that. I am not going to mention his name for one because I
Okay,
can't
no,
quite
I wouldn't
remember
want you
his
to.
name. But I did have one guy because as soon as he came over and I started talking, he went to curse and I was like,
Okay,
no one told him this was radio. And like when he walked away, I was like, huh? Okay. I said, hey, can you edit that out when you back
right.
at the studio? Okay. I said, yeah, he dropped the F-bomb too, so make sure you clean that up too. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
no one had told him, and I don't know if he was just, excited. He was new, and
yeah,
you can definitely tell the newbies a lot. But I'm like, I can tell he was excited, but I was just like, oh, we starting off cursing.
right off the bat.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, all right, second interview of the day, sure.
Well, what do you feel also too as a radio personality? What do you feel is something that in order for like an up and coming person, like say myself, I'll just put myself out there. Say I want to come to Power 99 and I would like to be I don't know, mornings or something like that. What is something that you would say you would give me advice for as to what to keep in mind if I got a morning show or something like that? What are the
Um,
tips you would give me?
I would say, and I'm gonna use something that people had told me, even though I didn't know what else to be yourself. When people first told me, come to Philly, be yourself, I was like, I don't know who else to be. Um,
Right, right,
never, I didn't think I put on a different persona. I felt like I was always me, which I was. But they were like,
right.
just be yourself. I'm like, well, okay. So I would say if you were to do like a morning show, be yourself. And but for you, for instance, I'm saying that because if you're joining a crew of people, you always want to have your own opinion about stuff. You don't necessarily have to join them because you
Right,
feel like it may be three against one, two
right,
against one. Be yourself. Stick with your own opinion. I remember some years ago, actually, I came in on the morning show and they were talking about Basketball Wives or something, and they mentioned one of the cast members, and I was like, I said, I'm down with her. Screw that. I don't care if that's the boss. If the boss is being a bitch, blah blah blah. And they were
right,
like, yeah, you. I'm like, yo, it's her feeling. And so I kind of like went against the grain because that
right.
was me. That's how I felt. I actually had a call. He was like, man, I'm happy you didn't say what they were saying. You stood you went out the box. And with what I was telling him, The guy was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to my boss. I said, I don't want you cursing at your boss though. But he's like, no, no, but what you were saying, he's like, I understood completely. So I
Hmm.
mean, that's what I mean by be yourself. Be able to not always have to agree with people that you may have on as your guest or whatnot. Be you, be your genuine self that you are. So that's one main thing. Be social.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I was wondering, like, you can always tell the people who probably are better in studio, and then maybe if you go to an event, they don't know how to interact, so they probably on their phone. And I was wondering, have you ever gone through a period where you've seen people like that? They're just like, okay, this is a networking event. Go network. Go do
So
something.
I will say, to a degree, I'm an introvert. You know, I
Okay.
don't. If I'm going somewhere by myself, I at least need to know at least two people that's going to be there, because if I'm there by myself, I probably won't be walking around as much. I'm like, what do I do here? Chances
Right.
are, if I'm going by myself and I don't know anybody, I'm not going at all. When I say no, I at least want to know somebody, at least the person who's throwing the event, or haven't been invited by someone who's attending the event. I don't want to just pop up like, hey y'all,
Right.
because
Right. Right.
I do feel a bit awkward, especially if no one knows, because we're in radio.
Right.
No one really sees our faces. So it's not like they, hey, Cap, hey, girl. You know, it wouldn't be that type of situation. I wouldn't say I'll be on my phone, but depending on the situation, because I will say, like I say, part of me is introvert,
Hmm.
part of me is not. Even just being in radio, because I was not used to people seeing me before I got to this market. Even sometimes in this market, when I would crack my mic in public, like for an appearance, I would kind of be, off to the side,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I had
Yep.
to kind of warm up before I would turn all the way around for people to actually see me.
Yeah.
So that was always weird at one point. And then it got to the point, it's like, well, you're on YouTube, you're doing podcasts, your face is being seen here and there. So screw it.
I know, because that industry stuff, I always sit there and go, why don't people dance? I'm a dancer. Like, I'm that person. If I don't want to talk to people, I will go jam by myself. And I always wonder if that's frowned upon if you work somewhere. You know what I mean? Because that's how I am. That's the way I open myself up to people. Is
Hence the
dancing.
BU part. I
You're
always tell
right.
I tell people all the time, dance like ain't nobody looking.
Yeah, yeah, because you hear about that stuff on the Oscar parties, and they always say people just stand around. And I'm like, why? What
Yeah.
is the point of going? You know? But no, but Cap, I'm so appreciative that you made time for me today, and this is definitely something I will hold on to because I was just telling Helen earlier, during the Eagle season, this is like my time, and so I wanted to do a podcast like this because I'm really dying for sports, but I want to also reach out to people because I'm staying home because I just don't want to get sick, and everybody's out there getting the vid.
Oh, I get it. I get it. It's a new
You know what I
variant.
mean?
I get it.
Yes, but I appreciate you for joining Five Questions, and I will keep listening to you on Power 99. You are gorgeous. You are fun. You are. I hope to meet you again in person, just like I did years ago with everybody else. And yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for blessing AJ's podcast. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great one. Take it easy.
You too.
Bye bye.